It is time for the April plan with me, and my mental health theme for this month is conflict. Hello friends, my name is Shayda Campbell. Welcome back. It is time for our April plan with me, and this year I'm using my Bujo to journal my way to better mental health. I'm really enjoying it. It seems like you are too, and this month is no different. Our theme is going to be conflict, listening. That's something that comes up a lot for me as a parent of a 3-year-old. Like, I have lots of daily good, I think, healthy conflict over, not wanting to get in the car and what are we having for breakfast. And we're going to do also a cover page that I'm really happy with that could represent a parent and child, or it could be like a friendship cover page. There's like a loose daisy theme because that's the flower for April, and lots of black and white and lots of good shade of stuff. Let's get started. We'll jump right in with our friendship or parent and child themed floral cover page. I've been very into drawing faces on things, faces on flowers lately, and I think it's because I designed this deck of cards for Flick. It's a free solitaire game. Check it out if you want to support your girl. And so yes, more faces, more flowers. This one, I'll tell you how I drew the face when I go over it in pen, but as you can see, it's fairly simple. And then we do this row of tiny petals, and then we go around and we do larger petals. But as I said, our theme this month is going to be conflict. Conflict with a toddler is no joke, as I'm sure many of you know. And Chris and I have been reading this great book called Good Inside by Dr. Becky. And in the book, there's a chapter called 2 Things Can Be True. And that chapter is going to inform the conflict/mental health tracker that we're doing this month. For me, accepting that 2 things are true looks like Sully being super, super upset because he doesn't want to go potty. Can you relate? He just won't want to go in the room. And me accepting that, he has to go, we have to go in there, but also that it does really suck to stop playing our game, to take this big break, to put everything on pause. Honoring, I guess, that even though it's a must, it's hard for him. Anyway, let's talk about how we do these faces. So for each flower, you're doing a perfectly imperfect circle. Then you can either double line that circle or go around it with all these tiny little semicircles. It's just a great way to frame the face and add some detail to the illustration. Next up, we're going to trace over those larger petals. And what I've done is just made them all a little different. Some will end in a point, some are a little more rounded, a little more squared or broken edge, what have you. So they all look a little different. And then the face, we're doing this deep V shape with 2 curving lines underneath. The curving lines, of course, have the little lashes on them, semicircle for the mouth with the heart-shaped lips, and the 2 sort of perfectly imperfect circles for the cheeks. That makes a really lovely floral face. And then we're going to come over here to our other flower, whether you're doing it smaller or the same size, and we're going to do basically the same thing, just making slight little changes. Getting back to that 2 things are true, I love this perspective because I feel like it's so the opposite of the 80s, 90s parenting that we had. You have to clean your room. You're lucky you have a room to clean, or you have to eat dinner. It's like, it can be true that you don't like this food. Little 7-year-old Shayda does not like this dinner. It's my least favorite thing. I don't want to eat it. And it can also be true that my mom worked really hard on it and that it's the only thing that is for dinner. I always have to throw my parents under the bus in these mental health videos. Anyway, let's grab a black brush pen so that we can make the leaves and the stems really stand out against those flowers. That way we're differentiating between what is leaf and what is petal or flower. You could also do this by taking a larger nibbed fine liner and doing some heavy line shading. This is probably just a faster way to get to that kind of end. And I think it looks nice. And I will use the brush pen to go over the word April. I don't always love my hand lettering, but I'm just going for it. We're also going to switch back to the fine liner and add a little line shading on those flower petals to make them seem a little more substantial. What you want to do here is just make sure that your little broken lines curve the same way that the contour drawing lines curve. So the way that the outer petal curves, that's the way that your lines should repeat and echo those same curves. Let me look around in my pencil case here. We'll get a really small fine liner, like a 0.1 or 0.2 millimeter nib, and we're going to go around and fill in these tiny little semicircles with lots and lots of little lines, and that's going to add to the drama and sort of help these the upper part of the illustration stand up to the lower part, which is very, very dark. And I'll finish up by adding lots more line shading with the smaller nib fine liner. Next, I'm going to come back in with the brush pen, and we're going to do some little messy dotting along the perimeter of the face, just to make that face stand out a little bit more. And then we'll do kind of these broken lines along the outer edge of some of the petals as well. Same reason, just to give this part of the illustration a little bit more depth and drama. Okay, voila, that's done. We can add a little white gel pen if you have any mishaps with your shading. I'm going to darken the brows on our little baby flower. And I actually think this would look so cute if you wanted to color the flower faces in like a dark yellow or something like that. But black and white, it's always a good idea. Maybe you color them in gray. I don't know. It's just a thought. Anyway, flip the page here. We're going to use that new center page and fold a Dutch door. And then this is going to be my mental health tracker. So this tracker is called 2 Things Are True, and it is all about helping us to honor 2 perspectives. So once that Dutch door is folded, each side of the page is going to have 2 big rectangles. So you can see me, I made the rectangle, then I divided it in half down the middle, then I made a tiny box at the top, a larger one at the bottom, and then the middle one keeps its little center. You can see what I'm doing. I can't describe it. So I'll talk you through this spread as I work it out in pen. And again, I just like to pull the pen towards my body and make these very not straightish lines. So you've got 5 boxes. In the very top one, like that super thin one, you're going to put what we'll call the event. I find with Sully, that's my 3-year-old son, the event is usually something to do with control. Like, he doesn't like being told what to do. He's very independent, very sweet, fiercely independent kid. And so with these practices, I'm going to try to honor that he doesn't like being told what to do, but that I'm still the parent and it's my job to make the rules and to tell him what to do. Not all the time, but many, many times. And I've actually struggled with that as a parent way more than I thought I would. I am not a disciplinarian. I really thought I would be. I always have had strong leadership skills, but that's different than parenting kids. I've also always been very about the concept of freedom and independence. And I think with Sully, I'm just very like, well, let him lead. Like, I don't know what's true. Can anyone really decide or say what is true? No. So there is no truth and there is no rules. And I just go down this weird philosophical rabbit hole where then he doesn't know what the boundaries are. I don't know what the boundaries are. And I'm just like, la, 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 everything's great. And it's like, no, everything is not great. Everything is a little crazy now. And I need to set strong boundaries and rules. So it's something that I'm working on. And then within that framework, I'm working on the idea that I can set a rule. Like, I can say you have to get dressed because we're going to school. And I can say that that is a rule that we're going to uphold. Although sometimes we do pajama days. See, I'm doing it again. Anyway. And I can say that's a rule that's important. We're going to set this boundary. And then I can also take a moment with this practice to understand that he doesn't want to do that, or he doesn't want to be told, and that doesn't feel right for him. A better example for me might be more like I prepared a surprise for him, like a big art project that we're going to work on. And then he gets home and he just wants to play outside. And I'm like, wait, but this surprise, like I worked so hard on it. So it can be true that I feel underappreciated or unseen in that moment. And it can also be true that that's not how he means it. He just wants to play outside and maybe we will play later. And so that's what I'm going to be working on as I map out these events and try to take a moment to focus on and sit with both perspectives. So honoring that both people's truths are true. And I've left 4 boxes in which to do this. Now, you can get this whole spread. It's available on Patreon. Download, print it, paste it in your journal. You can obviously print out as many of these boxes as you need. I tend to think doing it 4 times, especially if you focus on a single person, whether it's a boss or a child or whatever, is going to be pretty helpful. But if you wanted to do different conflicts with different people and just do as many of these as you want, I think it's a super mindful practice that can be so helpful. And so, as I said, I'm writing it out like this. Event. The event goes in that top thin box. Then down below, we have my perspective and theirs. And then at that very bottom box, we are writing the simple phrase, 2 things are true. And so what I'm going to do is write out the event. The event could be, that Sully doesn't want to eat his supper. My perspective, I worked hard on this. I feel underappreciated. His perspective, he simply doesn't like the dinner. And so 2 things can be true. And instead of spiraling into my own side of this, I can just sit with both perspectives for a minute and try to understand someone else and try to understand my own feelings a bit better, hopefully. Conflict is a tricky one to think about. I am very conflict averse. I just want to be a peacemaker and make everybody happy and make sure that people are happy all the time. Super unhealthy, not helpful. Anyway, I'm hoping this will help me sit with some of my own discomfort around conflict and see that it's not all bad and that it's not always coming from a bad place. I also have a weekly layout for you if you would like to download and print that one. It's available on Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/Shayda Campbell. It's just $3 a month. And I will see you soon with a new tutorial. Thank you, friends, for being here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.